All right, just in the interest of time. Thanks everyone for joining us on time for today's Beyond My MBA webinar series. And today we've got a very special guest, and we figured it out just a couple of minutes ago that she's a part of the inaugural batch. Doesn't looks like at all, with so much of energy. And right now, as we are saying that, there's a huge smile on Uttara's face. Uttara Chopra looks absolutely fresh. I think looks as if, somebody who's probably joining a batch upcoming. An incredible, impeccable career. And here, I think I should quickly get started with a laundry list of work that has been done, the commendable work rather that has been done by Uttara. Uttara has worked for over 6 years with HCL Technologies as a senior manager operations, group manager, particularly known for capability development. And we're really excited to knowing more about that. Before that, had also been a part of HCL Technologies in the capability development sector only. We are able to see that anyone who's worked closely with Uttara is constantly making her they've praised her very highly. They say that Uttara is a person who's an expert in the area of capability development programs, and her knowledge about the ways that you can manage and drive change initiatives is impeccable. Uttara excels in bringing the teams together and addresses challenges to make sure that we have successful outcomes. And even before the webinar, when we were having a quick chat, the way that Uttara said that, not just domain specific understanding of how you can grow in your careers, but yourself also, you will be able to understand a little better how you can juggle with your life. So I think a total veteran there, and somebody who's ready to mentor you. Also, we have seen that people who work very closely with Uttara, be it people like Ritesh Sinha or Puneet Sachdeva, they've always said that, she has been delivering complex programs that involve a couple of stakeholders. And we all know who juggle the work life, managing stakeholders, complex stakeholders becomes a task altogether. Overall, really excited to be talking about capability development. I think I can go on and on. And it's very interesting to even go over Uttara's LinkedIn profile, the way that she's constantly wanting to share the knowledge, be it her, her entire approach or write up on make it simple, make it achievable. And that's actually the toughest part. If we don't declutter or we do not try to break the complex. And what I really personally loved was her warm demeanor while I was watching the video, which was covered by HCL Technologies. So I'm really excited, Uttara, overall. And like I said, like, had you not told me you were a part of the inaugural batch, I think I would have considered you to be super young. And you look young right now as well, but like, not as somebody having over a decade long experience. So over to you. Really looking forward to hearing from you. Love that smile, love that energy. And thanks so much for relenting and coming on a Friday evening. Over to you, Uttara.
Thank you so much, Nirja. That was a very warm welcome, and I hope I'm able to live up to the expectations here. And thanks to everyone who has joined us so far. So, yes, as Nirja said, that I was indeed part of inaugural batch of Soil, and since then, after my placement, I have been working in the same team in HCL across my 2 stints. So that's a little bit about me. What I'll do is I'll share my presentation and I'll cover the rest in that. Okay. So let me just do that.
Absolutely.
And Nirja, if you can give me a indicator if when my presentation is visible to you.
Absolutely. It is visible. And you're also loud and clear.
Okay, okay, good. Thank you for that. So I'm gonna now talk as the theme goes, my journey beyond MBA. So we should start at the start, and that means before soil. So I am an IT engineer by education, and initially for 5 years in my career, I was into IT, a maintenance project. I'm sure many of you who are listening this will relate as majority of workforce sometimes come from IT. So I was a busy engineer. I had done my MS in software engineering, and somehow I felt that something was missing. I wanted to take on a new role. I wanted to do something more than just engineering. So that's when this opportunity for Soil came up, and I ended up joining Soil, that too the charter batch. So it was the first time that this was happening in Gurgaon. I shifted from Mumbai to Gurgaon for this only. And what attracted me towards soil was the ideology which I heard from Anil sir, and the world class faculty that we got to experience in the first year. So, as I said, experience at soil was a breeze. Not breeze like that, because there was a lot of work that we did, but breeze in the sense that we got to interact with some of the finest people in industry. I got a mentor who is at a very very senior position in Microsoft, and he's a learning head there. And so that was the industry mentor whom I got. Another exciting part was consortium of companies. So we were getting chance to interact on day-to-day basis with the industry. I clearly remember one day we had entire day dedicated to Schneider Electric. So they came, people from their office came and spent a day with the students, which was awesome at that time. One more wonderful thing that I got to experience during my time at Soil was social innovation project, and I got a chance to work with SRF Foundation, and we used to go to Mewat district to work for underprivileged schools. So it was quite an amazing opportunity where I could provide some value, and I could see that I was able to use my skills for a good cause. So that was a little bit about my experience at Soil. So Nija, going good so far? Any questions? Okay.
No, I think it's going perfectly fine, and rather we're really excited that post that, how did the journey take off? What were
Sure.
you up to in the capability development sector, and how HCL for such a long time? Because especially right now, the generation is struggling. Like Gen Z cannot really put up, or even millennials like yourself, they are people who are changing their organizations. But I think you've got a rock solid career, touch wood, at HCL so far. So tell us, of course, about your journey post Soil, and how did you just marry HCL? And I don't see a possibility of you trying to sever the bond with HCL any soon. So please help us understand that part.
Okay, sure. I'll thank you for raising that question. I'll try to address it now. So in Journey After Soil, this is when the really interesting part begins. So for any person doing MBA, core expectation is from placements, and I must admit that I got a very good support from Soil in placement. And during placement, I have to tell you that. I failed a lot of interviews, so that happened, and I was not in a good space. But still, the placement team helped me out a lot. They encouraged me, and I think I got the job at the right interview. So it was something that was meant to be, and that also means that you will find your opportunity. So if some of you are going through that placement phase right now, I think some of the students are also joining this webinar, so don't worry, you will find the right thing. There is always a right time for that to happen. So that was about my placement. And through my placement, I landed in HCL Tech in SMT cadre. In HCL Tech, SMT stands for Senior Management Trainee. And it's only very good quality of these schools that HCL Tech goes to for hiring SMTs. So Soil was able to create that space within the first year for me. So it was a extremely big opportunity that I got. Through this placement, I ended up with a team which works in futuristic technologies and incubates new technologies in HCL. And then once they have built people and solutions in these new technologies, then they help the business. So my role actually is to help run these initiatives. So design such program which build capability. By capability, I mean skilled people, or it could be capability in demonstration, like they are doing something which is proving that they are expert of it. So my role and profile is to design such program and execute these programs from end to end, and then also report the impact. So I help in the capability development area of these new technology incubation teams. With this, I want to now shift the gears a bit. So I told you about, my background and what I had done, how I did soil and how I landed in HCL. Now with HCL, I've been there for quite a few years, as Neerja was also mentioning. I am working with the same team since the beginning, and in between these years, I took a personal break because of my son. When he was born, I thought I should spend some more time with him. So that's why a career break is also there in these 11 years. And overall, I have worked with HCL for about 8+ years. So during this 8+ years, and even in the years that were off the job, I have learned a few things which I think can make, if applied by an individual, they should make your career journey smoother, more exciting, and should be able to help you become an expert of whatever it is that you do, be it HR, be it product development, be it marketing. So these are some, you can even call it some gyani things that I have picked, which I have applied also. And I feel that they bring a lot of value to one's career and one's resume also. So I'll start with those. The first one that I want to say is, don't fear the grind. So if you, when you are starting MBA, or even when you are going into job, you will get a lot of work coming your way. So the first, our usual response is that we get a bit, we fear it sometimes, that, oh my God, I have not done this before. What will happen next? So my advice to you is, at that point, take a pause and do not fear it. Why? Because it's an opportunity to explore. It's an opportunity to actually make a mark with your unique skills. It's an opportunity to put into practice whatever you have been learning so far, whatever your life's work has been so far. So, fearing it will probably close you to those opportunities. So, welcome them with open hands. You have worked very hard to get into MBA, or to get into a new career. So whatever new comes to your way, at least in the beginning of your career, you should be far more open to these possibilities and explore a lot. Nirja, am I making sense so far?
Absolutely, complete sense. And it was incredible how you said that, you'd also taken a career break to make sure that you had that work-life balance. And I'm really glad that, I'm sure, the pedigree of work that you have been showing, you rightfully deserve that. So that 8.5+ years of stint, we're really excited to knowing more about that. And of course, these I
Sure.
think these are such vital lessons that is,
Absolutely.
yeah, true.
Yeah, I learned from experience, because initially I also used to get nervous at, new work, at least when I was on soil and when I saw that long list of subjects that we were going to do. And every week we were going through a new subject. So at that time it looked like a lot, but when I went through them, they added a lot to my understanding of how business works. So this is an important point. The second thing that I would want to share with all of you is, raise your hand. And this is something I actually live by. This is something which is there, which is a part of me. And I have benefited a lot from this habit. By raising your hand, I mean that just say, I want to do this. So even when you're in MBA or you are in your job, raise your hand enough times. And this will help you in ways that you can't probably even foresee right now. I want to explain that to you. By raising your hand, you are showing your willingness. You are saying that, yes, I'm wanting to do this work, and I am the right person for this work. You're also saying that in a way. You also gain visibility. By raising your hand, you become a person who others remember. Whenever an opportunity will come, they will remember you by the virtue of this. So you are also making your aspirations known through raising your hand. So raise your hand enough times and let the world know that you're up for it, you're willing to take responsibility, you're going to deliver it from end to end, and be just very upfront about it. Don't fear, just go ahead and do it. So this is one learning that I have had. The third thing that I want to share with you guys is, feed your passion. So, what does feed your passion mean? So, we spoke about, grabbing new opportunities. We spoke about raising your hand enough. But in both those times, you may find opportunities which may not come to your mind first. They are something which is coming from outside, but internally also we sometimes have inclination. I want to build my career in a certain thing. I want to take up this technology. I want to be an AI specialist. You may have a lot of, these career desires are there, if I may call them so. So these passions of yours, they have to be fed also. What I mean by that is continuous learning. You have to keep on learning. So while you are doing whatever you're doing in MBA or in work, whatever passion you have, make sure that you're reading about it, you are learning about it. And not only reading and learning, you are putting it to practice also. That's why hands on application. So, what I mean by this is, say you are in a team, you are in a job and you are doing a data analyst work, but you aspire to be part of marketing team sometime. So why not go ahead and build a branding campaign on your own for something? So this will be part of your continuous learning. You build something about it, so this will help you later whenever opportunity arises. And if you even publish these things, it will help you make that transition. So continuous learning, feeding your need for that, change that you're wanting to do, is very, very important. And here, creation is the key. Whatever you are doing, make sure that you implement it. So learning does not end at you passing the exam. Truly, the loop of learning will somewhat reach the end if you deploy what you have learned, if you implement what you have learned, if you have put it into practice what you have learned. So we covered three things so far. The first one was don't fear the grind. Then I spoke about raising your hand enough, and the third thing that I spoke about is feeding your passion. So Neerja, I want to check with you, how's it going?
Absolutely. I think that's so well said that, if you don't make that attempt to raise your hand and tell that, you're proactively there, people wouldn't really even know. So you really need to be willing to make sure that, you're always there upfront, so that even if the opportunity is not there, they'll keep you at the back of the mind and they'll reach out to you. And passion, I think, because it is your passion, that's the reason you've built, that entire fortress of career with HCL, because, you had that endurance. I know you're smiling right now, but I'm sure, every day, eight plus years is like over, it's crazy number of days that we're talking about. So I'm sure that, you've lived up to whatever you have been teaching us right now. And tell us a little bit more about this passion that you're talking about, that how was it? I personally am very curious to know about it. How was it related to development, capability development? And of course, all these things are so critical for our own individual capability development as well. um
Sure, sure. Thanks for the question, Neerja. So specifically, I'll talk about the passion part. It is all of us, we are doing things for a reason, right? Especially in context of career, all of us aspire to be something. Now that thing may change from time to time, but at when you're wanting to do MBA, you may have a end goal in mind that I want to be a risk analyst, or I want to be a software leader, maybe a business leader, maybe a pre-sales person. So from here to there, you need to learn, you need to apply, you need to show, you need to build small proofs of this work that you are doing. And once you have created it, you start getting recognized for it. And that's where the true capability development happens. So there is a capability that you want to acquire, you are starting to learn about it, you move from that level of not knowing anything to a learner. Then you start putting it into practice, then you actually start sharing with others about it. And then you, before you know, you will be viewed as a leader in that field. So that's how you are continuously going through this circle of learning and implementing, which eventually leads to your capability development. And it's the same way it works in larger teams also. I will cover a related, the fourth learning which I wanted to share with all of you was show your work. So while you are learning things and you are putting them into practice, it's also important that you publish this practice. So you have been doing a lot of work, you are maybe learning a new profession, you're doing something, it's important to publish that also. Unless you publish it, you have not actually, committed yourself to it. I would go as far as saying that also. So if I were to take an example, say you have a sales, sales is a subject that you might study in MBA, or at work also you may get into that department. So if you were going through your course on sales, and as a result of that you work on a sales pitch. So if you keep it to yourself, it's fine. You learned, you implement it, and that's the end of it. What if you go ahead and present it to your batch and you are open to critique? So this does two things. One is you get valuable feedback, and obviously you get visibility also for doing it. And the other thing is you start getting known as the person who actually did it. So just by the virtue of doing something and publishing it to the world, you are gaining that next step. So I would also say, I would go as far as saying that the quality matters, but not so much your act of publishing and owning something that you created matters a lot. So that's why whatever work you're doing in whatever form, and these days it's so many social platforms are there. You can share your work through your audio, your video in a picture format. There are so many ways to do it. So do show your work, and remember this while in MBA or at job. Neecha, I hope I was able to address a little bit what you asked.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think this is also a line to what even Anil sir keeps on talking about thought leadership, that how you need to transfer that knowledge. And had you not, probably put those posts on LinkedIn, we wouldn't have got those rich insights altogether. So I think that's a beautiful point, that publishing is owning, and it's also that you're setting yourself to task and you're taking ownership of that. So I think you beautifully summarized it.
You're marking your spot that I am the person for this. I am your guy or girl. Okay.
Absolutely. Beg your pardon?
I said I'm your guy or girl for this job. I'm the person. I'm
Absolutely.
the expert.
Absolutely. Yeah, true, true. You're building your own brand that way. Right.
Absolutely. So you're also taking responsibility in the process. So that's where people actually get shy. You kind of develop cold feet that am I good enough? But we need to work through all that, and I think all of us do get that down. By the way, I want to say that all these of my learnings are on the basis of a framework that we have at work in my team, and that's for identifying experts. So if you were to truly follow, these things, it should help you become an expert of whatever it is that you do. It could be as simple as cooking, or it could be something as complex as engineering. So you can apply it across these different things. And now I come to the last point of what I have learned so far. So in whatever you are doing, always keep user in mind. So user here is the person who's gonna receive whatever it is. Your deliverable could be as simple thing as a mail, or it could be actually a finished product, or maybe a written script. It could be a program that you're sending to somebody. But always keep users pain points in mind. This is really, really important. So which means that you think of the person that who is at the receiving end. How is whatever it is that you're offering, if it's your service, or it's something that you're doing for them, or it's a solution that you have made, whatever it is that you're sending to them, how is it making life easier for them? This will actually help you create value. And this is something that I learned at Soil also. It's one of the core pillar, empathy. And empathy is in fact the first step for design thinking also, which is a world famous methodology now. And this step, even when you pick up a phone and talk to somebody, you're wanting something for them, if you keep them in mind, their problem, how does their day goes, why should they do what you want them to do, this will really help you, put things into perspective and navigate the overall relationships better and do your work better. So this is also, I think, a very important part, though it doesn't, belong to that capability track so much. This is more like by virtue of I have worked a lot with multiple stakeholders. So this is my go-to mantra for, interacting with anybody. this I thought should also make the list of the top 5 things which you should keep in your mind while doing MBA or even in your career. So that's here. So that's it. These are my takeaways from a career spanning many, many, many years, and there is a still lot to go. And I'll make sure when I have my next set of learnings, I'll come back and share them with you too. So if there are any questions, I'll be happy to take them.
Absolutely. I think you neatly, beautifully put it all together. So I'm sure that leaves no scope for questions. But still, if the live participants, if there are any questions, please feel free to put it in the Q&A section. Anything that anyone would like to ask, particularly if you want to build a career. Uttara, there was a question that we'd got from a lot of people, because we had circulated your webinar details, and one question was that could you help us understand that when you're talking about capability development or your own career stint here currently at HCL, what is a typical day looks like what are the things that you're firefighting, what are the things that you're planning, what are the things that you're up to at HCL on a regular basis? So what does a typical day at HCL looks like for you?
I think the biggest problem. So I am, if you were to put in other words, I'm a program manager for internal initiatives. So there are a lot of such things. Initiative by initiative, it could even be a hackathon or it could be a certification that we want to encourage people for. And I think the biggest problem comes down to engagement because everybody is short on time these days. They have other priorities. So you have to make sure that whatever you are asking, you are making it attractive enough and valuable enough for the other person to take interest. So if it's a learning program, which is my core area, then I need to sell my sell my program's value in a way that the person takes interest. This also brings me to a very important point that while many of you are going through MBA or aspire to do MBA, don't think that you will work in only a single area, because eventually when you become a business leader or you have your own business, you're gonna end up working a little bit in all the areas. So be it marketing, be it sales, be it HR, pay attention to all the subjects because it's all going to come back to you. So for your firefighting question, the answer is engagement is a challenge. And I just remembered that everything is important, whatever goes in MBA. So pay attention to that.
Absolutely. I think there's another doubt that we have live. This is Pavitra Kar, and she's asking that I'm from mathematics background and I want to try she wants to pivot her career via MBA. So what specialization can she take?
Okay, Pavitra, first of all, thanks for the question. Uh, you are from maths background, so I'm just assuming that you telling me that means you want to, continue in that direction in some way. So I don't think MBA just offers one subject, which is statistics, which is closely related to maths. Rest all are a bit, far away from maths. Having said that, see, doing an MBA will equip you with business knowledge. Later, after MBA, you can still go back to professions which are more math inclined. I for sure know that these days AI is definitely very near to maths. I don't know if you're a computer science background or not. So that can be one field that you can look at armed with the MBA. Neja, can you help me understand which are the streams in MBA which are there currently? Because I did the general management one.
Right. So we currently, I'm sure you know about it, that we're having two campuses now. One is the Manesar campus. We'd love to have you at the campus also very soon for an in-person session. And we're offering specialization in 4 key domains, data analytics being one, HR, finance, as well as marketing. And we, of course, the core principle is design thinking, because this is the School of Business Design at Manesar campus that we're having. And of course, it's embedded with liberal arts subjects as well. So we've got liberal arts, design thinking, along with your core management courses like strategy, operations, and 4 specializations in analytics, finance, HR, and marketing.
Okay. Thank you, Neerja. So,
Pleasure.
Pavitra, coming back to your question, I think it makes more sense to explore data analytics if you want to leverage your math background also. But that's strictly on the basis of question. You should know your passion and your inclination. You'll know that much better, and you are the person who can answer this eventually. Purely on basis of maths, I recommend that you look at data analytics and evaluate that option.
Great. I think that sums up. I think the way that you have beautifully explained us everything and shared your key learnings, it was pretty much very enriching. And of course, people who will be having doubts, I think they will be reaching out to you via LinkedIn, and you know, the kind of posts that you send on LinkedIn, they're also very encouraging. But before we let you go, any last minute thoughts, any last minute things, especially a lot of aspirants who'll watch this would be starting their B school journey. So I know that you beautifully captured everything with something that you'd like to share with them before we wrap up.
Sure, I can tell you this much from my experience. See, we go into MBA with very, very high aspiration, and most of the time it's also influenced by the placement opportunity. But I can assure you that the real game starts after placement. So during MBA, focus on the subjects that you're learning. And as I said earlier, it's not going to be that you're only going to restrict yourself to one area. Once you're in job or you're in business, you need to have that knowledge. Even when you're delegating your work to somebody who's a professional, you need to oversee the work. So this knowledge that you will gain in MBA will really help you become that master of business, so pay attention to the topics that happen during MBA and reap the benefits later. Those are the words I can recommend at this point.
Nice. And that's so well said that, you know, unfortunately, in that mad race, we start quantifying our achievements also with whether or not we've got that highest placement. Perhaps we've got the highest knowledge, and, you know, person who's got the highest placement may struggle or may move at a very snail's speed or whatever. Everybody's got their own journey. But I think that's such a well point, that focus on your learnings. Do not, just like they say for relationships, also keep your expectations low for it to run the most. I think keep that expectation on the learning horizon high. So that's beautifully summed up. I think you come across as such a practical person. I don't think you have problems, Uttara, or do you? Like, or I think the
A
way
lot.
level-headed that you may be able to deal with all the problems, right? You seem to be so sorted, like a person who's genuinely coming from the classical era of, you know, understanding everything in a very nuanced manner. As they even say, the Stoics, so to say, the Stoic school of thought. I think you look impeccably stoic, very level-headed.
Sure, thank you for the compliment, Neerja. I would say that having gone through Soil's value system and then being with a good employer, all these things have made an impression, and probably that's what you're seeing here. So,
So
thank you.
you're very humble. Thank you so much, Uttara, for spending your time, and we really appreciate. Thanks everyone for joining us as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Neerja, and thank you everyone for who joined. And if any of you want to ask any question at any point, just message me on LinkedIn, and I'll be happy to help. Thank you.
Definitely, we'll keep in touch with you, and we'd love to see you physically as well, coming very soon to the campus.
Sure, sure. I'll try for that. Thank you, Neerja. Thanks for the invite.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.